Good evening to everyone. My name is Ralph Thorne. Welcome to BLPTV Youth Vibes. This evening we are going to be discussing topics that affect young people, that touch the lives of young people. I will first say that when a government is seeking to implement policy, that policy normally stretches over 5, 10, 15 years, so that policy affects young people more than anybody else. In other words, a government is planning the country's future by definition around young people. And this evening, we've asked 4 of our bright and good-looking young people in the party to come and have a very open discussion as to their life and the life of the people in Barbados, the lives of young people in Barbados, and how they see their future. To my far left is young Ramon Goodman.
Good night.
To his right is young Melissa Howard.
Hi, good night.
To my right, young Shakwani Hunt.
Good night, everyone.
And to Shakwani's right is young Dale Rowe.
Good evening.
Dale and Shakwani have been declared as candidates for the Democratic Labour Party in the next election, and we fully expect that young Ramon and Melissa may find themselves being declared as candidates as well, which speaks a lot for the Democratic Labour Party, that we're not only focusing on the more experienced people, but we are sending young people to the people of Barbados to be their representatives in Parliament. Tonight, then, I've discussed with them, and I want to ask each member of the panel, how do young people in Barbados see their future in this country? You want to go first, Ramon?
Yeah, sure, no problem. And I want to thank all the members, the leader of the opposition, Mr. Ralph Thorne, for being here. You know, I'm in a little different capacity now.
Yes.
But I love being here. To your question, I've had many conversations with the younger generation and the young generation, like myself.
Yeah.
And a lot of them seem, disheartened. A lot of them seem
About the future?
Of course, about the future.
They're not optimistic.
They're not optimistic. Right? They're not optimistic. And I've had some conversations in certain areas, in rural areas.
Yeah.
I've taken a couple of them one side, and I've had a conversation. And the common theme seems to be there's nothing to do in the community.
Yeah.
There was once a situation where you had all types of activities.
Yes.
In
All right, let's come to that as you explain further. But your position is that young people are not terribly optimistic about the future of this country.
That is correct.
Let's come to Shakwani, female view here. What feedback are you getting from young people as to how they see their future in Barbados?
They don't see a future in Barbados.
They
It's
don't.
hard. When you think about what it was like in my time, it was hard for me then. But
But you're young, Shakwani.
I know,
So your
but
name is different.
okay, let me explain. I left secondary school 10 years ago.
That's a very short time.
It's short, but for people leaving secondary school right now, that's a long time ago.
All right, let us just say then, when we are talking about young people, we're talking about people who have a certain level of consciousness. So let's start at 15 and go up to 35. So you yourself fall into that bracket of young
Yeah.
persons. And you're saying to us that young persons are not terribly optimistic
No, they're not.
about their future in this country.
No, they're not. They
All right,
can't see a future.
We're
in
going to
this
come
country.
to why soon. Could we come to you, Melissa? How are you finding young people seeing their future in this country?
I agree with the other two individuals that spoke before me. That's why you're seeing a lot of them leaving the island, trying to, get jobs elsewhere. If they just stay here, they find it very difficult to be employed. You find a lot of them lying on the blocks, having nothing to do.
So the word is opportunity.
Yeah.
A lot of young people, again, your view, like the other two, Ramon and Shakwani, they're not terribly optimistic about the future in Barbados.
No, they're not.
Okay. Dave?
Sir, hi, good evening. In different conversations with different people, most of them don't see a future. They believe it is either prison or death.
Really?
Yeah, they don't believe that there's any opportunity at all.
Well, let us explain to the viewers that Dale would be representing the views of urban young people. Ramon would be representing the views of rural young people. That is the area which you're interested in.
That's correct.
And Melissa would look at suburban, which would stretch, I suppose, as far as Christchurch.
Yeah.
And Shakwani would be suburban, since your constituency would be around Eagle Hall, Bank Hall, those areas. Yes. Let us then look at the way out. If young people are not optimistic about the future, and we've talked about immigration, we're going to come to that shortly. In my day, education was seen as the way out. Who's going to go first? How do young people perceive education as being something that will liberate them out of circumstances in which they're not optimistic? How are young people relating to education? In my day, it was highly valued.
It is not as highly valued currently,
Mhm.
mainly because when you go online, you see people making millions from having an Instagram page,
Right?
doing content. So it's different when you see.
So they figure you can bypass education.
Not even
I'm
that.
talking about formal education here.
Well, in terms of formal education, when you get your formal education, sometimes you don't get those job opportunities, you don't get the interview, so you're left with that, and then nothing to do with it.
Mhm.
So they're looking for alternatives. Some people, yes, will study, but they're also looking at avenues where they can make money without having to invest long periods of time studying or paying for education.
So you don't think education is as highly valued?
I will
No.
say that it isn't.
It is not highly valued.
It is important, but it does not hold the same
Like,
merit
among young
as it did
people,
previously.
they're not valuing it as highly.
Not
as we
in the
did.
same way.
Not in the same way. Ramon, what's your view?
To a certain extent, there are some younger people. Their thing is to get a degree, and they would then move on to get a job. But it is not that simple, right? It is not that simple, right? So some people, they love the maths, they love the English, they love the accounts.
But do they see education as a way of elevating themselves?
They see this. Some do.
Some do.
Some do.
Mhm.
Others, they talk about sports.
About sports.
About
Okay. When it comes to sports,
Mhm.
tell us about education. So you would say that education is still serving its purpose
For some young people.
for
that
some
is-
young people.
That's correct.
A lot.
Not a lot. I would say a small. To be honest with you, a small.
Melissa, how are young people valuing education? Is it highly valued, or they're just going through the motions?
I think it's still highly valued.
Still highly valued.
Yeah. Some may find it difficult getting jobs.
Yes.
You will go to a job interview. You're
Mhm.
not coming out of school,
Mhm.
graduate,
Mhm.
but you're being asked to have 5 to 10 years experience.
Right.
That's
there's
impossible.
frustration.
Yeah, frustrations.
Mhm.
Then currently in this environment, you are having the government importing labor
Mhm.
for higher paid jobs
Yes.
in the island.
Yeah.
So you're asking individuals to study for 4 years, they come out and they're having low income jobs available to them.
Mhm.
So there's frustration.
This frustration. So that education is not really elevating them. Education is just giving them a job that may be beneath their expectation.
Yeah. And they're asked to climb the ladder slowly.
So the word we're using here is frustration. A lot of them are frustrated in spite of valuing education, in spite of going through the educational system, they meet frustration.
Yeah. They did everything that was required of them, but they're frustrated.
Would this stretch as far as university education?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
So there are people who are attending university and meeting frustration
Yeah. In
after
all
graduation.
Yeah, in all industries. I've encountered persons that study medicine.
Yes.
They've gone to the hospital, done their internship,
Really?
and after they find it very difficult to get employment.
To get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, internship was an issue. In fact, I actually took a case to court
Mhm.
to force the system here to accept all of the young medical graduates into internship. And we had a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And the problem was solved only when some of them got placements in other countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they will go and do internship with a private practice.
Yes. But you would say then education is still highly valued. but there's the element of frustration.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
We come to you, Dale. You're the urban man here. How is education valued among urban people in Barbados? Highly valued, or they just go through the motions?
Yeah, right now people just going through the motions. The reason being, cost of living is high, lack of opportunities. So,
All right, don't get to cost of living yet. Let's talk education.
yeah, so
The young people in urban Barbados, they're obviously going to school. And some of them do want to go to university, I would imagine, which would tell me that there are some people who still value education. Now, Melissa here is saying that they value education, they go through all the steps and become educated, but they meet frustration. Before the frustration level, let us take a youngster in urban Barbados, 15 years old. Is he or she valuing the process of education? Are they going to school? Do they have a sense of purpose when they're going to school?
honestly, no, because the focus for them right now
Mhm.
is to get money now,
To get money.
because the household they need to survive.
Let's see.
So education would be on the back burner,
Mhm.
and they would then more focus on entrepreneurship.
I see.
So
We're going to come to entrepreneurship so that you seem to be reflecting the view that education, they're going through the motion. But if I ask you the question I asked the others, do they value it highly? Is it something they think would bring them out of difficult circumstances?
all depends on the household. Yes, all depends on the household. From my experience managing restaurants,
Mhm.
persons would have left the university with degrees in tourism management.
Is that so?
However, they could only land jobs as waitress or waiters.
Mhm.
That's the point Melissa was making. Frustration again.
Frustration again.
Shaquani, you wanted to come in.
Yes, definitely. One of the things that we need to recognize is that when a person is studying, we need to encourage them one to try to start working. You need to work along with your degree. I ain't gonna lie, it is difficult, it is hard, but it helps you when you go to apply for those jobs because then you have experience to go along with it. We have many students going into the field, as they would have said, not being able to land those jobs, and the only opportunities they're given is waitresses or waiters. But if they have experience working already, they can land better positions if they will have the experience to back them. And sometimes you may end up working for free, technically, not doing like an internship, but those internships add up because if you compile them all, you would have experience. We have too many young people not being given opportunities due to the fact that most people hire family first, friends and family first.
Right.
And with that, if you do not know somebody, sometimes you do not get the opportunity to get the chance. And sometimes that is all the people need. A person who is willing to give them a chance so they can go in the room and show that they deserve the opportunity. We do have a whole new set of young people not even considering going to college for the mere fact that they can make more money without the degree.
I wanted to ask you that. I wanted to ask about stages of education. Obviously, a child reaches the age of 4 or 5, it is compulsory.
Yes.
It becomes optional only when you leave high school, secondary school. We call it secondary school here in Barbados.
Yeah.
Are you finding that a lot of our young people are interested in going beyond secondary school?
I will say
In urban.
No, and why not?
Again,
But you do have
yes.
some urban people who
Yes.
want to do university.
Yes, they want to do university. So some of them would have witnessed firsthand that a mother or a father or uncle or brother, somebody might have that degree,
Yes.
but the only job they can land is $8.50 hour or $10 hour.
So that the majority of young people you find are not interested in university.
Not interested.
Ramon?
That is correct. Believe it or not, I saw a statistic stated that there is a decline in enrollment where UE is concerned.
Yeah.
Where UE is concerned. So in terms of the higher education, a lot of younger people, they're seen it as a waste of time.
Really?
That is correct, yes.
Melissa? What's your view? Are young people interested in taking the step from secondary to university? We have a university here. It's free. You can go there free. In the United States, people borrow $500,000 to send their child to university. We have a free one here. Why are not young people interested in going on to university? If they're not, because
I think that it stems from the CSC level.
Oh.
You see now that more and more students are leaving secondary school without qualifications. They cannot qualify to enter university.
Mhm.
So even though it's free, it's not reachable to them because they don't have the qualifications. It depends on the area as well where the individual lives. You may see somebody that comes from a middle class family,
Yes.
still wanting to go to university. They go study for 4 years and look to get a job elsewhere.
I see. Shakwani,
And
are
what-
young people are interested in university?
Yes and no. There's a lot of young people that I would have helped through the process that don't have qualifications. If you're over 25, you can apply to BCC without any qualifications. You will go in as a mature student, and that will allow you an opportunity that you didn't have when you were younger. So say you weren't serious about studies and now you have decided you want to go back. You can apply to do anything. It may take you a little bit longer, but it gives you an opportunity to change your life. With that, if you want to, you can go on to University of the West Indies. But what I find is that a lot of young people have recognized that there are alternative means to make money. When we have large company owners talking about, man, when they started with 3 pigs, 4 pigs, and they built their empire, and then they went back to study. We have a lot of people going that route
Yes.
where they're creating businesses, stabilizing their home life, then going to study. Because they recognize that when you're a student, you don't make any money. So if you want to be a student and be able to relax when you get home, not worrying about having a home, not having a home, you need to be able to have income while studying. And the only way to do that is if you can find a way to make money and make enough money that can sustain yourself. Because as a student, when you go to the University of the West Indies and BCC, you have to pay for bus fare.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're-
student life is a period of poverty, isn't
Yes, it is.
it? Self-imposed
And even though
poverty.
it is free, there's cost to some of these activities.
I want to ask you about gender.
Mhm.
And I used to make a very interesting observation a few years ago when I used to play cricket at uni. And you'd see the students going in and out of the campus, sitting in the pavilion, and I'm watching them. And I used to do a head count. And for every 10, 8 were female. Seriously. I think it is a fact that more of our young ladies are going to university
Yes.
than young men. Why is that, Shapan? You want it?
What I will say is that
And look, I'm including BCC as a tertiary
Yes.
level of education.
boys are encouraged to get work earlier than females.
That's
Even though a
interesting.
female is seen as like a mother figure and they're supposed to help the household,
Yeah.
men are expected at time to get 15 or 16 that they have to bring in income.
Mhm.
No matter if they're working, if there's a job opportunity, they're expected to bring home money. With that, you find that there's a lot more pressure for them to
For the
get
boys.
work for the
To
boys.
go out
So you
and-
will
and
find a
work.
lot more boys going out to work, but then you will see them in evening programs. So we'll be going skill training, we'll be going polytechnic or even BCC evening classes. I even know people who went back after working to do like certificates in nursing.
But I want to bring you back to a
Mhm.
point you made. It's a very
Yeah.
interesting point. You say that the males are encouraged to go and look for work,
Yes.
whereas the females are given, let me use the word luxury, the luxury of further study.
Yes.
That's what you're telling us.
Yes.
You, Melissa, you wanted to add to that.
Um,
The point Shakwani is making that it appears as if men feel under some
pressure.
pressure, social pressure, domestic pressure at home to go out and work, whereas girls now are allowed to go study. What's your view on that?
I agree to some extent. In this society,
Mhm.
males are seen as the provider.
Yes.
Then you may have instances where the male may get a child early, so he has no choice but to go there and
Go
find
support the child.
employment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ramon?
there's a pressure where the male is concerned.
Yeah.
To go there and be the breadwinner.
Mhm.
Actually, a gentleman was telling me the other day that sees a lot of males actually driving the young ladies into UE.
Oh, yes,
Into
that has
UE.
been going on for a while.
Right? So that has been going on. So
Yeah.
I totally agree. Males are, there's a little pressure. There's no pressure.
to
The
go and
male
work,
can go and work.
and
That's right.
the young lady gets to go up to university.
That
Dale,
is correct.
what's your experience in urban Barbados?
I totally agree with all of the points that the panel would have made. In addition to that, what I realized in urban Barbados, the young males, they are forced at a very young age
Mhm.
to start making money because that household either have a grandmom that is medically unfit, or they might have a mom that is not employed.
Mhm.
So we then see our young males
Mhm.
from the age of 13, 14, selling waters, juices to make that money. So from that young age, my mindset would be, yo, cannot milk. I can't focus on
On
education
education.
because there's no food at home.
Right.
So I only have the only option right now is steal. I don't want to steal, so you know what? We go sell some waters.
Yeah.
I can skip school 2 days to ease my mom or ease my dad. Some started selling rock and Fanta as early as 13 or 14.
What then is our verdict? Your verdict as young people on the educational system? Is it serving Barbados well? Is it serving young people well? Is it failing young people? Is it failing the country? Objectively,
It could serve young
Not could.
Barbadians.
Is it serving?
Well, no,
You don't think it
I
is?
don't think so. Not at the current standard it is currently at. But the mere fact that we have students going up grade after grade, even though they're not passing classes, that is a fundamental problem. Why are you sending up a student if they are not passing?
Mhm.
We need to stop that. And they pass if you did not do well enough, you were stopped them for a reason so you can do better. But because you have people just sending students up now, teachers are not allowed to stop down students anymore.
Mhm.
So now that you have them constantly sending up students, you have students leaving school not being able to read, and that is a fundamental problem. It's
And that's a
impacting
failure of the
society.
system.
It is.
Sure.
You have a young adult going into the world, can't read, can't write.
Mhm.
So then now how are they supposed to operate with the everyday person? They can't have a job because the first thing you have to do is fill out the form.
Yes.
How are you going to be able to communicate? How will you be able to problem solve or even de-escalate a situation when you're angry? You can't do those things when you don't have the tools to do it. And because we're in this predicament where they're just sending students up constantly, we now have a whole set of 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds who are on the street at home, not knowing what to do with themselves. And the basics, they should at least know how to count
Oh,
money.
yes. Melissa, is the educational system failing young people? Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. I agreed with Shakwani on certain comments that she made.
Let me say to you, I ask this because all of us in Barbados must start to talk educational reform. So
Yes.
this is a question that leads to that, which I'm not going to ask. But
Yeah,
the
but
question is the educational system failing young people, or is it allowing them fair access into a successful adult life?
it is failing some young people. But it's not a question of education reform, but maybe curriculum reform. She mentioned students having,
Shakwani?
reaching, let's say, the age of 10 and can't read.
Yeah.
So as a teacher, you're picking up that a student from year to year is having issues reading. So why is it there an intervention at an earlier age? Why allow the student to reach the age of 10? So what can be done intervention wise to tackle the reading issue?
What's your verdict on the educational system? Has it failed or is it failing our young people?
I believe it is.
You think it's
I
failing our
really
young
think
people?
it is. Especially there are situations where a young person they might not be too versed where math and English is concerned, right?
And that's where the 11+ focuses.
That's
Two subjects.
might not be that versed where that is concerned. How about the other?
The others, you're
How
talking
about the other
the
stuff?
same thing that Melissa's talking, curriculum reform.
How about the creatives?
Yes.
How about the creatives? Sports.
Music.
You know.
Interesting.
How about those things?
Interesting. Dale, in urban Barbados, is the educational system failing people in urban Barbados, or is it still that thing that can take their lives into sunset?
Honestly, majority of the persons see that is failed. That system has failed. No, majority of them.
And these are young people.
These are young people. There are a lot of young people that are males or females that are not interested in degrees in either medicine, law, hospitality.
Let's go
management.
before that. CXCs, are they
CXCs,
interested in
you know.
CXCs?
Some might be
Okay.
interested in CXCs, but their focus, most of them, they want to do stuff that they can manage their own money. So why not let's society, let me recreate the curriculum.
Mhm.
Let us implement business management. Let us talk about finance.
Mhm.
Because as simple as it is, those young boys and young females, they are managing their own finances.
Curricular reform.
Curriculum reform.
Yes. Move beyond the traditional.
Move beyond the traditional.
Yeah.
Why wait till you are expelled or you finish school at 16?
Yeah.
No CXCs or with CXCs, then you want to go to sales training. Why not have those kind of programs in the school?
Mhm.
Look at track, for instance. When you win that race,
Good point. We're going to come to sport.
But
All right.
they-
We will look
yeah,
at.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
you go on, Melissa.
You mentioned skills, but there are subjects like metalwork, woodwork
Mhm.
that are skills that can be used, but they are not seen as attractive.
it's not.
The
Yes,
students.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Because
The system doesn't respect those
No, they
subjects, do they?
they use a whole time system with woodwork and even work. Honestly, you guys got all kinds of tools, all kinds of gadgets.
We here in Dale well. Dale, you
Yes.
might gotta speak up
Yeah.
a little more.
So the woodwork and metalwork at school is okay, but I think that we should let us diversify that program, add more to the program that young people can benefit. Why not? Why don't we teach or talk about money in schools? Why is only math or English? Money is not taught. We need to talk. We need to start teaching financial literacy.
That has been added to the curriculum.
Has been
Yeah.
That's-
yeah.
Okay, excellent.
I just
All right.
want to
Yes,
jump in
please.
there. Because I hear a lot about some of the things that they don't have. But I just want to mention we do have, remember they have CBQs and technical vocational qualifications.
CBQ, what's that?
So that is Caribbean vocational qualification. So if you're in a skill area, you can do metalwork, you can do woodwork, you can do barbering, you can do
At what age?
That is from I think around 14 straight up to sixth form.
In
St.
secondary
Leonard's,
school,
yeah,
okay.
St. Leonard's has a
And
barbering course.
cities and
Yes.
guilds.
Yeah, City and Guilds. They
Okay.
still do City and Guilds, but same way as you would do it at Polytechnic, there is a course from first form
Mhm.
to fifth form where you can do CBQs. It is continuous assessment, so there's no failing. You just do it
You just
until
do
you pass.
So that's a potential
So,
success in the
and they
system.
do have it in maths and
Chikwani,
English.
you-
Yes,
when you
yes,
say that's
that
a-
is a success. The failure with that element is that when you leave with that qualification, you can't apply to BCC, you can't
Oh,
apply
I
to
see.
uni. They don't know how to apply those qualifications because the government has not connected
It's
the
not
dots.
accredited.
So even though it is a good plan,
Mhm.
it has some good elements,
Mhm.
they have failed the students by allowing them to do these qualifications and then they can't use them.
Mm-hmm.
So parents have an issue where their children are asked to do CXCs and CBQs at fifth form level where they will get qualifications, but CBQs are a lot of work and then you can't use them. You can't apply at any tertiary level institution currently with those qualifications and get in based on that merit. So for that fact, parents don't let their children do it.
I
So
see.
even though it is easier and it will just take more, I guess, paperwork and more assessment, parents tend to shy away from it because they can't use it outside of secondary school curriculum.
Oh, excellent,
They can't.
excellent point.
And I just want
Ramon?
to just jump in a little bit as well too. I think that certain occupations, certain jobs
Mhm.
are still seen as hobbies.
Really?
Barbados, of course.
Like,
I would say if you look at DJs, if you look at
oh, yeah.
things that along those creatives, people who are creative, people who are photographers.
Brings me to this point now.
Yes.
We looked at education as a way out of difficult circumstances. I want us to come to sport. Now, if Dawn Marie Armstrong were here, she's big on this. the issue of sport as a profession, as a job. Are all young people in Barbados taking up sport as a profession, as something that can pay their bills?
No.
Some would love to.
Or you go first. Ronnie.
I'm saying no. Well,
Do you think it can be?
yes, it can be.
And are
Think
all young
about-
people
Think about
focusing on sport?
cricketers.
Yes.
Think about our cricketers.
Well,
When I went to foundation, cricket was a big thing there. I remember we used to have the junior Ghana cricket competition yearly. Our school was made up of cricketers. People came from all around Barbados to come to foundation to do returning fifth and do fifth form. And then we started having sixth form as well. I told somebody cricketers were the longest students at foundation. I went into school at first form, I saw grade fourth form, and I left school, they left the same year as me. So you imagine how important cricket was for us then.
Yeah.
Why have we not made that a profession where people can make money?
why have we
I
not?
mean,
Why have we
it
not?
is,
Melissa?
it is, but they can make more money.
Well,
But the cricketers in Barbados are the highest paid sports people
That's
in,
right.
in the
And
country.
that is bad because they don't make enough money.
They do.
Some of them,
They make
some of them
plenty.
still work.
Some of them are
no, they're
multimillionaires.
multimillionaires. They're
That's the few,
multimillionaires.
that's the
No,
few.
the IPL people, they're millionaires.
There are
in
many
very
of them
short
that
times.
are very rich.
So
Very
the
short.
club, so
Yeah.
you can say the persons who play club level, they don't.
No,
No, not that person.
No,
So,
but
But
at
my
the professional
question-
level, they do.
oh, they do. My
Then
question
how do we
is,
get more people into professional.
well, that's the
level?
question now. I want to ask this panel: is the 15-year-old boy or girl in Barbados seeing him or herself as having an opportunity to make money in sport? He may
No.
not be interested in history and maths and chemistry. He may be a good cricketer, good footballer, good hockey player, good table tennis player. Is there an avenue for him?
Not on-
Does he see, let's say Dale,
Yeah, so
does he see sport as a future in which he
sports,
can make money?
yeah, sports, young people see sports as a future. However, after leaving secondary school,
Mhm.
and your mom didn't have the finances, or your parents don't have the finances
Mhm.
when you were in school. So after leaving secondary school, you went to career fair, you did all of that. What is the next step? When you get that scholarship, how are we as a government,
Mhm.
how are we as a government helping those young athletes? What I have to realize, we only want to invest in those track athletes after the
After
fact.
success.
We-
But before we get to the success, my question to you, does a 15-year-old boy, let's focus on the boy. Does a 15-year-old boy in Barbados feel that if he's a good athlete,
Yes.
good cricketer, footballer,
Yes.
does he feel that he can make a living out of sport?
Yes, they
Oh,
honestly right now they believe that.
They believe
However,
that. We have, I think, I spoke to a basketball coach here. We have about 5 or 6 people playing NCAA in the United
Yeah.
States.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have some footballers playing professionally across Europe.
Yeah.
Is the 15-year-old boy in Barbados of the view that he can make a living out of sport?
Yes. I have.
There are young people,
There
because we
are
have a
young
lot of
people
young
that
people playing
believe in it,
football.
yes.
There must be a good reason why.
Yes.
Do they think that they can make a living out of that?
They think they can make a living out of it, but when you hear the show, people, the end result is where are we getting these finances?
Apart from
You
finances,
plan-
is there the infrastructure, competitions where we don't have a stadium?
No,
Is there the infrastructure for a young person, a good athlete? Well, when I say athlete, I mean runner.
runner. No.
We have a little boy, 15 years old, he's running fast. Can he explore that talent in Barbados now to become a Usain Bolt? No, he
We
cannot.
don't have
We don't have-
the
So-
proper
so-
track.
So
facility.
where athletics, where that's concerned,
Mhm.
I think a lot of people probably don't see themselves rising to the top.
But that was my question. Do our young people see themselves
I believe,
as rising to the
I believe
top?
that have
Dream.
sports.
Yeah.
I believe
Some of
certain
them do.
sports.
Yes, some of them.
Certain sports.
Let's hear Roman.
Cricket.
Cricket.
And I can
The
start with-
opportunity is there.
That's correct. Yes, I can start with cricket. Now,
Yeah.
before cricket would play in my community, cricket would play every single day on the roads,
Mhm.
around.
Yeah.
When you go now, you don't see a lot of that.
Right.
So it starts within the community. Every single day, windows would break every single day
Mhm.
in my community. Every single day.
Mhm.
You don't see that now. Football They will play on rough surfaces.
Mhm.
Rough surfaces.
Tell us about now. Is the young footballer, can he feel optimistic that he can play in Europe, in South America? Can he feel that?
No, I would
Does
say
he
no.
think
Not
the opportunity is
no,
there?
I would not. I would say
Cricket though.
cricket. I think he
Because
there's a vision.
there's a tradition
yes,
there.
there's a vision.
You play for your club, Empire Spartan, you move to the Barbados team, you move to the West Indies
That
team,
is correct.
and then you move to top cricket
That
in
is
England. That has been a tradition.
That is correct. Cricket is
Cricket has
actually
been-
one of those sports.
Yeah.
I believe
Melissa,
they have
you
a
want
vision
to-
where that is.
Is
Yeah,
sport an avenue
There are
for people
avenues.
out of difficult circumstances?
Let me touch on cricket first.
Yes.
Why you see more
Melissa plays
research-
for Barbados, by the way. She doesn't like me to say.
Yeah. Why you see more
Cricket.
Barbadians reaching the higher level in cricket
Mhm.
is there are facilities here
Mhm.
that they can train.
Mhm.
There are more opportunities
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
In other sports, you have to have both education
Yeah.
and to be talented to get scouts come in the country and have opportunities to go to universities
In the
overseas. Yeah, under
Right,
scholarships.
right.
But you don't need that path with
For
cricket.
I
So
see.
you don't need the education and the talent.
How about football? Is that
You need,
part of football
yes,
as well?
yes.
You do?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Dale, you wanted to add sports.
Sports, yeah.
Got a 15-year-old boy who is exceptionally good at sport. Football, cricket, athletics. Well, leave cricket. We've already established that. The avenue is there for that. But can a young footballer at the age of 15 who the people at school and his village tell him he's star material, is there an avenue for him to become a professional footballer?
Honestly, professional footballers don't.
No,
It is very difficult.
very difficult.
Very difficult for the young footballers or the footballers in general.
Shukran?
What I will say is that in terms of football, the sport, the clubs will have to have the scholarship opportunities so that the players can sign up and get those opportunities. Sometimes that being a young Barbadian, your parents might not know how to find these opportunities, but the clubs do. So they need to put in the work. Like, I don't want to say I was a volleyball player, but I used to play
Were you
volleyball.
or were you not?
I used to play volleyball. But a lot of my friends went overseas on volleyball scholarships because they
Really?
had a lot of volleyball
US, England, where?
US, Canada. Most of them were in US or in Canada.
Mhm.
But a lot of them won the bachelor's overseas and then they went on to do the master's. And some of them coach overseas now. So I'm saying that there are opportunities,
Mhm.
but the volleyball clubs, the BVA at that time, they helped them fund scholarships. So with every sport, there are scholarship opportunities. So the clubs need to help their students and their players look for these opportunities and help them through the process. And if they do that, we will find that we will be manufacturing players from
Yeah.
Barbados. We have a lot of talented people who just don't know what to do. What are the next steps?
Ramon raised a very interesting point. We're still on sport
Mhm.
as a way out of difficult circumstances. Ramon was telling us that some time ago you would pass any street, any playing field, dozens of young people are on the playing field playing. Is that still happening in Barbados? Children go home from school. What is happening?
I don't see it.
You don't see
I
it,
don't
Melissa.
see it.
Do you see it?
You see the tablets inside the house now.
Tablets. Dale?
The playing fields, no. The young people in the urban community,
Mhm.
sad to say, the pavilions is not in good condition. Grass, tall,
Well, tell us about the playing field.
the playing field, grass, tall.
Grass,
You know,
If the playing fields were cut, do you think we would still get that social activity of sport?
we will have to create a solid program to then encourage that.
Yeah, but spontaneously, outside of what a government may wish to create, are young people in our communities interested in sport?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, in
What
my
is preventing them
community-
then?
In
Yeah.
my community, the children and the adults are playing football on the road.
In the road.
We had to ask for permission for them to get access to pasta
Mhm.
so that they can. Because I was wondering why we have so many. We had toddlers toddling out behind the ball in the road. So as cars passed, they would move, and then when the cars passed, they would come back into
This
the
is
road.
in your
Yeah, in my
constituency. Gotta
constituency.
push your constituency, you know.
Yeah.
So
So we found that a lot of throughout the constituency, don't matter where we went, we had a lot of people interested in
That's
football.
that's good.
And that is why we started to develop programs to help them nurture those skills. But again, in my community, we don't have a lot of green spaces. So
Mhm.
if you guys are playing football,
And you're
in the
talking
road.
St. Michael West.
yes.
Gotta push your constituency.
In St. Michael, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So we did ask for permission for them to use a passing facility, and they were given that opportunity.
Mhm.
But also, again, when you look at the crime, a lot of people are keeping their children inside. Think about what happened recently at
Yes.
the when
Yeah, yeah.
people were watching netball.
Don't even refer to that.
So with situations like that, a lot of parents are saying they prefer their children to be inside on a tablet than outside and potentially something going wrong.
So there are fewer people
Yeah.
playing sport.
Yeah,
sport
they are
games too.
playing sports, but they want to.
Yeah.
So we need to make the environment one comfortable, safe, and then give them a facility to use.
Yeah, we're gonna
In my
discuss crime
constituency,
shortly.
we don't really have a community center. We don't really have facilities.
In the whole of St. Michael West.
The closest we
have
might have is
Passenger
Passenger
pavilion.
Road.
Yeah.
And
Apart
doing-
from that, you don't have one. That's not good at all. I wanted to come to arts. All right, we looked at the way out of difficult circumstances. We looked at education, we looked at sport. Are young people in Barbados, do young people in Barbados feel that they have a chance in the arts and entertainment?
Professionally?
Yes.
No.
No.
Um,
We have a lot of entertainers now.
yeah, there are a lot of talented individuals,
Mhm.
but we don't see these artists being paid proper salaries.
You
But
know,
no, you don't.
some of them make a lot of money.
Where? In what industry?
I don't know.
Okay.
But let's focus on the young people. A 15-year-old boy, and it doesn't have to be a dub artist. I mean, a 15-year-old boy who plays the guitar, drums, or who sings. We have an explosion of karaoke now in Barbados. Does a young person in Barbados now feel that he or she has an opportunity to make a life in entertainment?
I can say yes because I'm in that field and I am surrounded with people who make lots of money in the entertainment.
Locally?
Yes, locally.
Really?
And it has nothing to do with being a
Well, share the
DJ.
secret. What area of entertainment?
Well, I know people who play saxophones, who play
Is
at
that so?
restaurants and stuff like that. Sometimes
Excellent.
they are paid. Okay, I wanted to hire a person to play a steel band
Mhm.
for I think it was for 2 songs. It was
Mhm.
$450
For 2 songs.
for 2 songs.
Wow.
So it's not that there's
So there
no
is hope in
yeah,
entertainment.
they do make
Locally.
money. They do make money. Yes, they could make more money. But what I found is that they do make money, and a lot of them have consistent gigs, and they
And they
Group
can do it
together.
full time.
do it full time.
Mhm.
I have a friend who every single night she works at a different location, and hotels hire a lot of these
Singer.
people.
She's a singer.
A pianist,
Pianist.
right?
Oh, that's excellent.
And her band, I remember I wanted to hire their band to play at something that I had, and it was $1,000.
And she can
For an
consider
hour.
this her career.
Yeah.
And it is her
She
career.
okay. Also, she along being a musician, she is a chemist, and she left her daytime job
To do
because she was
entertainment
making
full-time.
more money full time. And the only reason she left her full time job was because she was tired.
Mm.
Working daytime and working nighttime. Yes, the money was good, and what she was able to do was save and invest for her future.
Mhm.
But because she wanted to have more time to relax, she decided to give up her full time job and just focus on her nighttime gigs. So what you would do is that with having a job in entertainment, what you need to do is plan more efficiently, organize your gigs and pre-plan. I'm not saying that every field would be like that,
Yes.
but okay, there's programs like art and entertainment management, and with those programs, you can learn how to manage your business. We have a lot of teachers coming back and retraining in that degree. We have a lot of producers, artists, booking agents doing this as well, because there's nothing saying you have to play here. I know people who go to St. Lucia Jazz Festival and perform, so they travel throughout the region and internationally as well. And it's all about a close-knit society. So because we don't really have a record of what the art and entertainment sector really brings in,
An industry.
yes,
an-
and we
an
don't really have
entertainment
a
industry.
right. We don't really know what the entertainment industry really makes.
But it is there.
Yeah, it is there.
It is there.
If you try to hire a DJ, minimum they start at $350 for an hour.
Yeah.
An hour.
Yeah.
And think about the amount of parties we have constantly.
Yes.
So you
We will
imagine.
come to that.
I have some people, I remember there were some DJs, the experience, the big up names start at $700 an hour.
An hour.
Yeah, deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you
Just to
think
tell our
about that-
viewers, I'm here with the young people tonight, the best looking people in the party, the young people. And this show is called Youth Vibes. And we're talking young people's interests, their aspirations, whether there are opportunities existing in their country, in Barbados. And we have looked at education, we've looked at sport, we're on to arts and entertainment. Ramon, you wanted to say something about entertainment. The opportunities, are there opportunities in entertainment for young people
Yes,
to
there
make a living?
Yes, there are opportunities, especially the hotel circuit. Definitely the hotel circuit. There are a lot
Really?
of singers, a lot of people who play in bands.
But would this then be seasonal or would this be November to April?
That's another thing too. And also let me talk about the DJs. No,
And
again,
would this be a full-time job?
but that's the thing. No, in my experience,
Mhm.
where DJs are concerned, no, they can't afford for this to be a full-time.
What happens on which season then?
There we go. But obviously DJs will always get work. However,
Mhm.
because we don't have a serious industry, we don't have people that say, you know what, this thing's serious, right? We got a lot of people who still think it's a hobby.
Mhm.
I know a DJ guy, his mother would ask, or his grandmother would ask, so you're gonna play that thing, so she sees
He
it.
doesn't take it seriously.
She does not take it
Yeah,
seriously.
yeah.
So that's the challenge we have.
Let's say you wanted to say something.
Yeah, all right.
Entertainment as
As
a
a-
profession.
We can take the crop over season as an example.
Mhm.
You're encouraging the local artists to produce songs.
Mhm.
But at these huge events that we have, we are paying the entertainers from other countries
Yes,
the large
That
sums
has
of
been an
money.
issue for many years.
Yeah. So how can you encourage individuals to take up
Who is at fault there? The promoter?
promoters? Yeah,
Promoters.
promoters.
Okay. No names, but a Trinidadian can come here and get a $250 million.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Yeah, multiple times.
Daly wanted to say something
Yes, honestly,
on
young
the
people,
question of entertainment.
young people,
Is it an avenue for a living?
yes, it is. It is an avenue for living for the young people. Reason why young people look at entertainment as I can drop a so
Drop a tune.
a nice bashment soca.
Uh-huh.
Once that song is trending,
Uh-huh.
then you would then have the stores, the restaurants that then want to have you do promotional videos
Ah.
for them.
Okay.
So that you make your money on Instagram doing promotional videos. And then when the season kick in, which is the crop over season,
Mhm.
you would then start, a lot of events start from February. So
Yeah.
February straight
Straight through to
straight
August.
to September, yeah.
Are a lot of our young people then, significant numbers, looking at entertainment as a living?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Reason being because they don't only get
So that's
Paid.
creative effort.
Yes.
They're using the creativity. So you can't always write off the young people. They're
Yes,
thinking
yeah.
ahead of us. Because in my day, and I can say my day, Shikwadi, in my day, entertainment was you do a little concert here and there, but you had your day job.
Yes, but when you think about entertainment, don't only think about the performers, think about the people doing the graphics. Those people make money too. Flyers aren't cheap.
Or the
Think about
ancestry
Yes,
industry.
think
Yeah.
about the people.
Yeah.
Yes, think about the people doing the photography and
Right.
the videography. Those are big elements about entertainment. And sometimes you have to pay like $400 to get photos for an hour.
So it is a developing
So it's a
industry.
developing industry, and it's okay. So you have, say, you're working in this industry. You have the hotel season. Then after hotel, you have crop over season. Then you go straight into Christmas. There's not really a break because at every element, there's a way for you to make money. Photographers make money from you do headshots, you do professional shoots, you do weddings, you do the funeral recordings. So there are opportunities to make money. I know that there are photographers and videographers who travel
Mhm.
to different carnivals all year round. and
So
make
our
money.
government can take the entertainment industry
Yes,
seriously
everything
as an
is
industry.
seriously.
Yes.
We have
That
to
is
take,
sustaining itself.
we have to think about entertainment, arts and entertainment industry, like the
Mhm.
tourism industry,
Yes.
because there are going to be four leaders in terms of making this society more sustainable. The amount of money that could be made from this industry if they inject more funding will be more than they make in tourism.
And it can be an export industry because
Yes,
it's,
they can.
I mean, there's a reality.
I asked somebody, why have we never decided to take our product of crossover anywhere else?
That's the point.
People fly here to experience it. Why they can't experience it in other countries? And when we think about elements like that, we have an opportunity to make real money because we have Barbadians living in the US, we have Barbadians living in England.
Yes.
And if we were to do something like that, they will come out and support. Think about when they have Bajan days in the UK or US, how many Barbadians come out to participate because they miss home and can't afford to come home.
Let me ask a difficult question then.
That's where Labor Day in New York.
Yes.
Yeah, but we don't make money from Labor Day, but we could make
But let me
money
ask a
from Labor Day.
difficult question. Here in Barbados, how many people do you think are employed within the entertainment industry? Is it hundreds? Is it thousands?
It's all
Thousands.
Give us a guess. Thousands.
thousands.
You gotta
If
remember.
it is thousands in a population this small, that's a serious industry.
That's
That's
it's a
an
serious
important
industry because you gotta remember, even in
You wanna
terms
give
of-
us a guess? Thousands? 5,000?
more than that,
More than
way
that.
more than
Really?
that.
Yes.
I mean,
Because
employed
think
not only
about-
is the entertainers, but the ancillary services.
okay, think about the staging. That is people.
Precisely.
Think about the tech people. Think
Yes.
about the chairs. Think
Yes.
about the security company.
Excellent point.
Then when you think about the sound system, all those
So
people.
it is a thriving
Yeah, it's a
industry.
thriving
And a person can say, look, I'm going to stay in this industry for 25, 30 years and make my living. That's possible in Barbados.
That's correct. And
The reason why the tourism sector is so good is because of the entertainment. Yeah. So
Is that so?
yes. So managing
So
restaurants.
there are tourists who come here to say, I love the entertainment.
Yes, I want to watch this band,
Like
all
that.
different bands.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
this is not the era of the live band.
we then booked them from December 15th to April 15th. Like
How many live bands we have there?
A lot.
A lot. There's a lot.
I wasn't hearing it.
Yes, there's a lot.
I was hearing that
People
by
also
day, every village had a band. It starts with Thomas and we had a lot of.
They're changed a little bit, but they do have a lot of like
I thought everybody was doing the drum machine and the just singing through the mic. We do have bands in Barbados.
Well, a lot of the
It's good to hang up with young people. You learn things.
yeah, a lot
And
of
we're
the-
learning that there are live bands in Barbados still. So Austin husbands, if you're watching, we still have live bands in Barbados. Ramon,
because you have the blue economy, you have the green economy. We should look at orange economy, which deals with creatives.
excellent,
Creatives.
excellent.
There are lots of talented people in Barbados,
Mhm.
talented young people in Barbados, just waiting for that opportunity. We have to take them seriously. No doubt about it.
Okay, excellent, excellent. You want to say something else, Melissa? But of course, the arts now. We move from entertainment. Let's go to the
the
I don't-
artists.
yes.
Okay,
A
well,
dancer, a singer.
they make money too. I can tell you, being in this industry, it is easy to see where people make money. People make money doing choreography, people make money dancing, and people make money doing dance
The
classes and
dancers are
studios.
connected to the
Yes.
Yes,
the
they're,
bands.
they're,
Yes.
it's all interconnected. In terms of when you think about a visual artist and you say they don't make money, they make money.
A lot, yes.
Let's
I know
come to
people
the dancers.
commission-
Let's come to the dancers. Can a 22-year-old lady
Mhm.
or man,
Mhm.
excellent dancer, can he make a living in Barbados year round?
Yes,
He
and
can.
because
It's also
don't forget-
price.
no, because
It's a price.
they
I'm going to hear your view next.
because okay. I know because I know a lot of dancers who work in dance studios who teach dance classes. Those classes are not cheap, and you will have dance classes every single day for different age groups.
So you're talking about the teacher.
The
Yeah,
schools,
no.
the schools can
The
sustain
schools have
themselves.
to
over-
hire teachers.
tell us
but
about
a
the
lot
dancers.
no, I mean the dancers are the teachers. So when they're dancing, then they have downtime. They teach as well. They also would travel to dance.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, yeah.
But would you say that this is just a clique of persons and not dancers in whole in Barbados?
I will say it's not just a clique, mainly because I know people that I don't see on stages who make money as dancers, as professional dancers.
What area would they make?
Wow.
What area?
They
of activity?
make their money, most of their money from teaching dancing. People love their children, so they will invest in their future. And for that, you will find a lot of parents sending children between any ages to dance classes. I know because my niece was a girl dance class,
Mhm.
and her mother used to pay, and we still needed to go there and volunteer to do things where they had the big performances and stuff like that. So in situations like that, you will find teaching dance classes on the evening. Then a lot of primary schools and secondary schools hire people to teach dance classes during the daytime. And then you will find that people who usually do dance, they would usually also go into things like yoga. They will also maybe do physical therapy and stuff like that. So they would utilize their natural skills and their qualifications, because there are qualifications in dance as well, and they can even work for the government. So you have opportunities where you can work for funding to do programs, or so okay, say if you want to do a community initiative, you can ask for funding to do something like that, train people. And with that, you have a cycle of people. We also have, well, at BCC, I know that there's an exchange program where you can go
Of
and
dancers?
yes,
Okay.
you can go and you can go to, I think there's Disney. We have a relationship with Disney. So we have you writing and let them know that you're interested and then you're considered. So it is visual arts, it is dance, it is hospitality. The visual artists we go to, I think it's a different college in Canada, but you get those dancers get the opportunity to go to Disney and they can perform. So I do know people who did go on the program. Some of those people decide to stay over there and try to get gigs over there, or some people come back. So it's not that they don't have opportunities. When you look at clubs and organizations that give those students opportunities, you have like Praise Academy, those dancers go overseas. You
Oh, I
have
see. I see.
Masters, you have Triple Track. A lot of those people give those students opportunities. So depending on which dance club you work with, you would get opportunities to apply for scholarships, opportunities to dance internationally. And if you have a strong dance group, you might even perform internationally as well.
And you can make a living. Let's go to the more glamorous area of the arts and entertainment. Singers. Every time I open Facebook, I'm seeing the karaoke people. Some of them sound quite good actually. A singer, a young man or a young woman who sings well in Barbados, can he or she make a living?
It's very hard.
It is hard there.
Very hard, yes.
Why do you say that?
Um,
He reaches 17, 18, he leaves school, and he says, look, I want to make money singing. Can he do that?
he can make money singing, but he have to have that hit single that can push
Mm.
you.
You mentioned hit signal, right?
Yeah.
Hit single,
Single.
correct?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's the H thing. Back in my day, used to do something called a record and vinyl thing. How do you get a single now? How do you sell your music then?
Thing is video recorded and you share it. So you
So you can trace it and make money off of it? Oh,
I found out it's a lot easier. You go on
Spotify.
Yes.
That's only a term I've heard. I have no idea what it means. But that's how you make the money.
Yeah.
And a singer can make money in Barbados.
I
You
found
want
out
to stay
that
on what?
a lot of artists now, what they do is, obviously they sing the regular song on TikTok, on the same TikTok.
Mhm.
You come up with a dance, some sort of
Yeah.
funny dance, and for some reason it blows up. Sometimes it blows
And
up.
he can make money doing
Yes,
that?
after that. Yes, that's
Really?
right. Yeah. But that starts the popularity, and then after that.
So young people know the way
Yes,
forward,
they-
how to make money.
Yeah, creative.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
in
creative.
terms
Yes,
of
Laquan.
singers who don't produce their own music, who just sing people's songs,
Mhm.
I do know a few of them, and they do make money. I don't know.
Where would they make money?
They
So
will
doing
make
people's
money in
songs.
private
Yeah,
events.
hotels.
So hotels and private events.
Weddings and funerals.
funerals.
Yes, we have those every day.
Yes. So in cases of that, okay, I heard a singer and it was $150 for 2 songs.
At a wedding or funeral.
Neither. It was just for entertainment. When people have events, so say the government holds a big party,
Mhm.
all those people on the stage have to be paid. And those
Mhm.
people have, each person has their own costs attached to them. So it might not just be one big cost. Depends on how experienced or well known you are,
Mhm.
your price goes up. So say you're someone that everybody knows that you're an international artist, your price goes up. So building your brand, like what Dale would say, making TikTok videos, making it blow up and stuff like that, going viral, your price goes up. So if I was $120 for 2 songs yesterday and I go viral, I am now $600 for 2 songs today.
Tell me about the live audience. So a singer in Barbados can go to a funeral, impress the family, or impress somebody in the congregation, and then he or she they get to do a funeral.
Yeah.
And a person can make a living doing 2 or 3 or 4 funerals
A week.
and
Well,
the
you
odd
can-
wedding.
yes.
Can
Well,
you
you
make a
can-
living here doing that?
You can do that. What you would have to do is like the persons who are the videographers, if you know, directors, the churches,
Connect.
build a connection with
Yes.
that. So
Networking is the thing to
networking
talk.
is very important.
Right.
So if you know somebody, like we tell people all the time, make sure you have your business cards. Make sure so when you hear a person perform, they're going to tell you their stage name and where you can find them because they want you to be able to book them going forward. Some people will hire booking agents. So what a booking agent does is scout for you.
Right.
Or an agent, because some
Also,
artists
they have agents.
so some people have agents, some people have booking agents along. So
Right.
those people search for a job opportunities, whether local or international.
Yes.
Sometimes if you go to different countries, you will have a booking agent in that country to find new job opportunities.
Okay.
So with that, we need to show the younger generation, and I'm hoping that when they join, I guess what do you call it, like, you know, the organization like House of Soap and stuff like that. When they join it, they show them the ropes and giving them the opportunities to tell them how they can get to the stage where they can get a booking agent, where they can help them source these opportunities overseas. Because a lot of people all around the world love soca music, they love reggae, they love dub, and they will love people that they can pay that. They may not be able to pay $500,000,
Right.
but they might be willing to pay $5,000 for you to
Which
come
is
up
good.
and perform
Yeah.
to sing
Yeah.
some of these popular songs. So with that, they need to step up in that area where they can give these
Outside of the
opportunities.
popular and traditional means, we wouldn't call them. Well, you can say any year with something. Is there a market for our young singers
No.
No.
overseas?
Overseas, no.
No.
Here, no. Locally or overseas, no.
I think that we
Apart from the weddings and funerals and so
No.
on.
No.
But you can make a good dollar.
It
Singing
depends
at
on what
weddings.
they
That's what
they
Shivani's
want
saying.
to do.
That you can do 3, 4 not weddings, funerals a week.
Yes.
And
It
collect
depends on what they're looking to do, what they want to do. If they want to be an international artist, it's not going to be as easy. You will find well-known artists in the Caribbean. Sometimes they will go to places like what do you call it? America's Next Top Talent. Even well-known artists in the USA, they will go to those places to blow up further. So sorry. Become more popular
Okay.
in the eyes of the public, and popularity will get you gigs.
Y'all
So
do what you
even-
never blow up, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So in
So in situations like that, if you want to become an internationally renowned artist, you will have to find a platform that can get you that publicity.
Yeah.
What I can say is that I feel with our artists who have made it big, making millions of dollars, they can create initiatives, even like similar competitions like what they have overseas for people to get a one-off opportunity, a yearly event, even say a music school where persons from all around the region will come to participate in Barbados just because we have the best here. And something like that will make Barbados a location to come to just because we have the best music program in the Caribbean.
We do. This is
I'm
BCC,
saying that.
BCC.
Yeah, the
Program?
BCC program is very good. We have a lot of people who come into the program, but I'm saying it could be better if it had more investment, more funding. You imagine if every
Tell
student
us
from
about that.
BCC
More investment, more funding from
okay,
where? And more investment into what?
into the
is fully
program
funded?
itself. One, the students would need access to top of the line equipment. Most
Right,
students have to
right.
purchase their own equipment.
Is that so?
Yes. Going to school may be free, but the equipment is not free. You have to buy it yourself. So you have to get equipment. They need staging, they need lighting, they need opportunities where they can practice. Sometimes we are in facilities where there's not enough space. You imagine you're in a class with 30 students playing 30 different instruments and we're all practicing to prep to exam. How can we hear ourselves? How can we become better? So we need to treat our students like they're the next generation taking over. And by doing that, we need to give them the equipment and facilities to do that.
Shakwani, pardon, I wanted to ask a question. If a couple, they have a child, 17 years old, and he says, look, I want to be a professional entertainer
Mhm.
in Barbados, what do you tell that person? Tell him abandon it, or you can
Go to
pursue it?
BCC.
Go to BCC.
You can either do an associate degree or
But
you can do their
Is
bachelor's.
there an opportunity?
There's
for
an
him?
opportunity for them to develop.
Can he make a living
He
in
can
Barbados?
make a living,
as
but
an
he needs to know how to make that living. I have a lot of experience.
So you tell the parent
DJs.
yes, or tell him go and do a accounting?
Yes, I'm gonna say yes because
A lot of parents will
Don't-
tell them go and do accounting.
no, don't deter your child. Give them the tools to become successful.
Excellent.
Give them the tools.
Ramon,
I would
what,
say-
what would you tell the
I would
parents?
say the same thing. However,
The child.
make sure that there's a balance. Right?
There's a balance
And
between
there's a
what and what.
That is correct. Between education
Uh-huh.
and also pursuing your goal, your dream. Also.
But
In
entertainment,
terms of
the arts part of education.
Yeah, right, fair enough. But I mean, in terms of math, English, normal
Okay.
academic.
What would you tell that parent, Melissa? His son comes and says, I want to be a singer. I don't care what they say, I want to be a singer.
In Barbados,
Yes.
I would find it very difficult to encourage him or her to stay in Barbados.
Or
In this industry,
besides singing, guitarist,
overseas.
go overseas. Dale, you're thinking?
Honestly, urban Barbados, a lot of Barbadians, young Barbadians,
Yes.
the focus is dub or bashment. So
Yes. Yes.
we as a Barbadian culture,
Mhm.
we need to embrace our dub. Yeah. No, the reason why I say that because
No, that's fine. That's fine. I looked at you like that, but you know what you're going to run into there.
Yeah.
So
So
you go on.
no, so the reason why I say that, when you look at Jamaica,
Mhm.
the Jamaicans,
Their industry
their dub
is fairly
industry.
lucrative, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You get me? When you look at Trinidad started the Trinidad dub music after Barbadians here.
Mhm.
So Barbadians were pushing dub, and then Trinidadians then hop on that bandwagon. Because at one point Trinidad was
Trinidadians have that too.
yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
know that.
And those guys are being paid 100,000 Barbados dollars
Where
here to come and perform.
the Trinidadian dub artists are coming here making 100,000.
Who are Trinidad artists? I've never heard of them. To be
Yes,
honest.
those guys are being paid a lot of money. Prince Swan, example.
$100,000.
Yes, please.
Deep shot.
I am.
You're not promoting it to your man.
No.
I know about the
But-
Jamaican reggae artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamaican reggae. So right now, the Jamaican reggae artists and the Trinidadian artists, they're out here, but we are not pushing our local dub artists. There's no avenue, but if we listen to the local dub artists, those guys are singing some very positive music,
Mhm.
but it's just in that format. It is very, very positive.
What will say reggae and where the train music is called? It's called Trinidad.
Trinidad.
It's called Trinidad.
Trinidad. It's called Trinidad.
On another occasion, we're going to come back and talk about the lyrics and the culture. I wanted to know the culture. This offers us an excellent chance to move into entrepreneurship. Young people. Again, young man says to his mother or father, look, I've done the CXCs. I know you want me to do cake, but I think I want to be an entrepreneur. Is there scope for that in Barbados? 17, 18,
I
19 years old. Yes, Shaquani.
I will tell the parent, tell your child to produce a plan. I'm
Produce a
saying
plan.
that because if you're serious about what you want to get into, you need to
Mhm.
show a promise and you need to show that you have done the work to know what it entails to have a successful business. It doesn't have to be foolproof, as in they can get help from you, but they need to show the incentive that they really want this.
Mhm.
I remember becoming a young
And this is
entrepreneur.
self-employed. You're
Yeah,
on
this
your
is, yeah, oh, you're on your own.
you, your ideas, and a bank loan if you can get it.
You can't get a bike, so
No
let me
bike
just stop that
Okay,
right
okay.
But let me be honest. I speak to a lot of students and schools.
You would encourage them.
Yeah. What I tell the students is that if you're serious about doing hair and you plait hair now, show your parents how much money you can produce from doing that. Show them
Right.
that you can schedule your appointments and still be successful in school. So if you have a parent that you're trying to convince them that you want to do cosmetology,
Mhm.
this is what to tell them. You need to show them one, that you're serious about it. So that
Mhm.
means that if you have potential clients, book them.
Yeah.
You need to create a business page and you need to advertise, and then you need to show them that along with school, this is my side business and this is why I'm taking it serious. I want to go and further my studies so I can potentially make more money, because cosmetologists make a lot of money.
So a young person does
Mhm.
not have to write the application. He can go there, he or she
Mhm.
can say, look, I want to do my own.
Yes.
And he can succeed, he or she.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will be hard,
Yeah.
Yes.
not impossible.
I totally agree with entrepreneurship.
Yes.
The reason being, I would have encouraged a lot of young people,
Mhm.
to go that direction
direction.
along with studying.
Because the generation before is afraid of it.
Yes. I think that
You either got a job in the public service or in
Or-
a nice big company
big company, correct.
and you set for life.
Yeah.
Young people are not seeing life that way now.
Young people are making tons of money.
Really?
$10,000 a month, cosmetology,
I would tell you,
barbers, those guys. have
getting your
So you would
eyebrows
encourage the
done.
youngster,
entrepreneurship, yeah.
Ramon,
I would do the same thing.
you do the same. You would encourage a young person
However,
who is interested in entrepreneurship.
that's correct. However, I am going to be brutally honest with you
Uh-huh.
regarding the risks involved.
The risk.
I don't want to be negative,
Mhm.
but I need to give them the full score of what this
Yeah,
thing
yeah, they take falls.
Yes.
You got that.
Yeah,
That is correct.
Melissa, I know your answer.
Yeah, I would encourage the entrepreneurship route.
Mhm.
However, being an entrepreneur is hard the first 6 years.
Mhm.
So I would encourage the individual to have a job
Mhm.
as well as pursuing to open a
Really?
business. Yes.
Do a bit of both.
Yes.
Haven't you found that
You need
people
consistent
who
to
keep
fund
their
these.
main job
Mhm.
tend not to focus on the,
No, you can do both.
you can?
The reason why I would encourage individuals to do both, to get a loan from the bank, you need to have
Ah.
3 years
So the main job is the loan.
the money,
I
right?
see.
Because initially you can't get any money from the bank to open the business.
Mhm.
So to get a loan from the bank, you need three years financial statements. That's impossible.
But we know
when-
the story
yeah,
there.
that's impossible when you're starting a business.
Mhm.
So you work, you save the money,
Yes.
and use
That's
that money
smart thing
to
to do.
invest in your own business. That's your route I would.
All right, that's the easy question. The difficult question now for everyone. What are the areas of self-employment that you would identify? Easy areas, yeah.
Easy.
All right, you think about it,
Yeah.
Dale.
I see a lot of the guys into right now the natural juices.
Natural juices.
So as opposed to just doing natural juices normal,
And these are healthy
it's
juices
a healthy
as an excellent alternative to
Yes. The
what I brought in here.
yes. And also like branding is everything.
Mhm.
So as a young entrepreneur, don't just say, well, you know what, I can sell some juices because this is a means of income.
Mhm.
Don't look at it as you just selling juices at the corner. Look at it as you providing a service.
Mhm.
So brand it really nice. Branding is easy. Come up with a brand, come up with a service. So when you go to sell the juices, you then prepare a script.
Mhm.
Good evening, sir. My name is such and such. This is natural juices. You can find me and whatever. So you can do a nice script to present your juices because persons, I stopped and I bought a natural juice from a guy because I knew it.
Because yeah.
I don't want to do that. I want that if I want to buy a natural juice, it is branded.
Yes.
You providing a service.
And you have faith in
and
quality.
and then one guy in COVID, I bought Beijing cherry juice from him, natural Beijing cherry, and
How was it?
It was fantastic. I went back to look for this guy and I cannot find this guy. The best Beijing cherry juice in Barbados. So a lot of the young people into the natural juices, nail techs, lashes, hair,
And you can make money in
you
these.
can make money.
Well,
My
listen,
barber, he is
sorry.
only 22 years old, and he has a barber shop. And his business is doing really well.
a lot of people wear locks, so how is he?
Nah, he's doing good.
Barbers are doing okay?
Yeah, the barbers are
Okay.
doing good. They provide a very good service.
Alyssa, what area of entrepreneurship would you recommend in Barbados?
In Barbados,
Yes.
I would touch on the construction aspect.
Yes, construction.
The skills, the masons,
Mhm.
carpenters, painters. I think we often look down on
Mhm.
these skills. So that's the part of entrepreneurship I will look at right now.
Construction.
Yeah, construction.
Ramon, you're staring at me.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes. Caravaning.
Carvalho.
That's correct.
Yeah. We have over, how many cars we have in Barbados? Well over 100,000.
That is correct.
And they just love their cars.
Correct.
They just men anyhow.
That is
I can
correct.
tell them.
I knew it.
Yeah,
You weren't paying to get a car's wash.
Really?
Yeah.
Shaquani, what area?
Twice a week.
You're going to community college next week to address some young people, in theory, and you're telling them, look, these areas of entrepreneurship, I would advise. Which one?
You could be an entrepreneur in anything.
Which ones come to mind immediately? Some are going to be more difficult than the others. They'll talk about natural juices. Melissa's talking about construction.
I don't know. I mean, you can make any business successful.
We're going to
You
come back to
really
you.
can.
We're going to come back to you. Okay. So there is scope for entrepreneurship. And you would want to tell the young people this is self-employed,
Yes,
which
that's
is very difficult. Big sacrifice.
huge.
Tell us about the sacrifice element. Shaquani, you can tell us about that. The sacrifices you make. You're not going to make money immediately.
If you have an 8 to 5 job, you think it's hard. Working for yourself is a 24/7 job. You don't sleep,
Good
you
point.
don't eat because you're the
That's the sacrifice.
marketer, you're the graphic designer, you're dealing with the actual clients or customers, and then you still have to do the banking and the accounting. So at every step of the way in your business, you are the person, the one person who has to do everything. So if you're not willing to push any work, don't get into it because it's going to be a lot of work. But if you feel that you can do the work, then make the investment for yourself. There are a lot of programs that you can go to where you can get a startup. So say you enroll in Polytechnic and your parents are willing to help you go to school and fund your additional education when you leave secondary school. Those programs that have to buy you equipment. So when you get your equipment, save your equipment. When you get your lunch money, as my mother would say, you don't have to spend your lunch money on lunch. You can pack your lunch. So save your money. I remember when I went to foundation, as they will say, I used to sell snacks. I didn't need to, but I used to because I had a shop home. So why not? And then
Shop to foundation.
just extended the shop to foundation.
So report to the
And
principal.
no. But then they brought up the $20 challenge. And I remember the year we did the $20 challenge. Our group was the best because my mother had a shop. So I understood how we can price on the price and still make money. It was so bad that we had the canteen complaining for us. We went from selling 5 days a week to only being allowed to sell 2 days a week.
You were providing a fair competition to the canteen.
Yes, we were making money.
You got extra?
And we did
Retention?
not, because it was a $20 challenge where I can't remember who gives you the money, but each person in the group, they got $20 and we had to turn it over to make money. And then the profits we had to donate to our organization. We had to donate a portion of profit to our organization. And it was 11 of us. And every week we went home with $150 each.
Look, I hate to say, in my day, self-employment was clear. You went and told your parent you were going into business. But they didn't see. They thought you were going crazy.
Yeah.
How a lot of our young people are into self-employment.
What I will say is that if you believe in yourself and you really want this, you need to be very serious when you speak to your parents.
Are significant numbers of young people going into self-employment.
Yes. Almost even the ones who have regular jobs. I know a lawyer who I asked her the other day, what do you want to do? She said, man, I do lashes.
A lawyer.
Yeah.
And she's doing that.
She do lashes because she makes more money doing lashes.
Which led to my next question. Are people doing it because they want to make more money? Or they have to do it.
They have no choice.
They have no choice.
The cost of living. Yeah.
Period.
They have no choice.
Cost of living is driving people.
And it's
Some
one you need,
people
2 and 3. One thing we know is that they just love to look good. Regardless if your hair, your nails, even the men. You know, barber chairs always so
Really?
you've never went into a barber shop and really saw it empty. And sometimes those guys, I remember when I used to come in here a little late, they don't care. Every 10 days you saw the barber. Every 10 days.
I want
So-
to come to the unhappy topic. Because we're talking young people here. And one of the problems of being young in Barbados is that a lot of young people are involved in crime. Y'all don't mind discussing it?
I don't understand. Yeah.
Okay.
Before you go to crime, I just want to give a point. The reason why the young people, a lot of young persons going towards entrepreneurship, because one, you set up applications, you can't get employment. And if you do land employment, you're not working a full 40-hour week. those young persons are being paid minimum wage, which is 8.50,
Yes.
and then they're only working 24 hours, which is 3 working days. So when you calculate 8.50 by 24 hours, you're looking at like $210. Then taxes come out to that.
Yeah.
And then bus fare to get to that job is $15 per day.
It's a good point. Let me postpone crime for the time being. A young person who is going home with that money, what is happening in that person's life?
Honestly,
I mean, they're obviously living at their.
How are they
so-
surviving?
Yes.
Honestly,
What is happening?
They're not
they're
surviving.
not surviving.
But they're going out to work every day.
They're
They have no choice, even though it's a little still counts.
A little still count.
So that's we will find a
Is
lot of young
it
people
then for the
having
sake of,
jobs.
is it for dignity? Being able to leave the house and go to a job and come back.
No, it's
Although-
it's pure survival.
Surviving. They
But
have
you're
no
in a
choice.
But you can't survive on that. I mean,
Imagine surviving with zero.
all right, let me say this to you, Shapani.
Mhm.
Sometimes, quite often, I go to the gas stations and you don't want to ask people their business. But I see the young person there, and particularly gas stations, they work really hard. And it is a hazardous environment.
Yeah.
Because fumes
Gas
from the
is-
gas
yes.
nobody. Yeah. And I sometimes ask them, so how is it going for you? One or two say, well, they're only doing it short term.
Yeah.
They're studying. And I was very pleased about that. But people in jobs that are where they're being underpaid. What's going on in their life? I mean,
in addition to the short hours, the work environment is not healthy or
Right.
fair to those persons.
right.
So then it then push the young people then back to the same question.
What I'm getting at here, David, we coming to crime.
Yeah.
The minimum wage is too low.
Too low. The increase with the 17 cent, when I did the calculations, if you work 40 hours at 8.50,
Are you then appealing for an increase in the minimum wage?
I think
You're a
that
politician,
Yes.
you better do that.
I honestly believe the minimum wage should be $10, but
$10.
but we need to look at the
You
minimum.
heard it first on
Yes.
the LPTV, you vibes.
The reason why I said minimum wage at $10, we also then have to stipulate the hours.
Yes.
Because you can raise the pay, but then shorten the
Like what
hours.
they did
Ah.
last
So
year.
that's what
That's what
that's
they
what
did.
that's what-
That's what
It's
they
in
did.
between
And
rates.
they're getting the same pay.
So now
Oh, I see.
so
That's
so
what
what
some people
the
think
hotel
about.
sector does,
Mhm.
we're gonna give you $11 as a waitress or
Yes.
waiter.
Shorten the hours.
Correct.
Then
And
short-
then
you
you give
wanna
you
work
short
3
hours.
Yes, go.
And then we're gonna give the hostess $14 an hour just to stand by the podium.
Mhm.
But then the hostess then have to pick up duties that the waitress have to do.
Mm.
And then that hostess then get short hours as well.
Because it's
Yes,
very
yes.
frustrating. You're going to work, you're spending money on bus fare.
Mhm.
So you're just really actually working to work.
Yeah,
You're working
yeah,
to
yeah.
You're working to work.
Just the dignity of saying
course,
I have a
that's
job.
the- you know,
But
that's
apart from that,
you're not
Sorry.
you're not living.
It's not
You're
Yeah.
working. You're working, and
you're
then
using subsistence.
constantly.
Yeah.
In addition to that, there are persons working in government that is not appointed as yet. They
Mhm.
cannot get loans from the bank as a
Correct.
result of that.
Correct.
In addition to that, these young people that are working currently at the minimum wage, they still can't even get loans from the bank because we still operate off of the 3 and 6 month contract. We
Mhm.
then need to revise that and look at that different
Mhm.
because we're gonna give the young person 6 month contract to work in the hospital.
Mhm.
Contracts
you?
is the thing.
And then quick so within a year or 2 years they're unemployed. What I realized with the hotel sector lay off most people right after crop over,
Mhm.
and that is when we have back to school.
Yes.
So a government need to look at the primary school because primary school, the cost for the primary school children,
Mhm.
it is so high.
Derek is telling you stop hitting.
Sorry. So the cost to send the children
He's
to
getting
primary school.
passionate about on this subject.
Yeah.
This is Dale, our candidate for the city. Very passionate young man. We have him to do extremely well in the city. Dale is really committed to the struggle of people in the city of Bridgetown. Dale, please continue.
Yeah, so like when you lay off those persons in August,
Mhm.
what will happen to the mother or the father that have those children that went into primary school that you have to buy every single book?
Mhm.
Secondary school is the ease because you pay the
120.
120 and then you are providing your books.
Mhm.
Government should look at that for the primary school as well.
Yes.
Move away from you have to go and buy all these books for the primary school students.
Yes.
Give the people at ease. The hotel sector, we need as a people, we need to create. So for me, if I had the opportunity, I would not put the food festival at the latter part of the year.
Mhm.
I will put a food around festival right after crop over, so that the ending of August into September, when
Employment continues.
because when you look at the hotel sector, so right now, this week, a lot of staff already been sent home.
Mhm.
And then majority of those staff members, they are having short hours. They're gonna stay employed up until crop over.
We are going to do an entire program on crime, so I'm going to postpone crime. I want to move the discussion to immigration. I talk to a lot of parents of young people, and I talk to a lot of young people, and large numbers of young people say, "I'm leaving Barbados."
Yes.
And the one word, opportunity.
Yeah.
Now you're here talking about employment that cannot really help people's survival. And the question of immigration arises. A lot of young people are planning to, and a lot of young people have left Barbados. And the one word they're using, opportunity. And these are educated young people as well,
Very.
with degrees.
Very.
Doctors, we've
Very.
lost a lot of our
Very.
doctors, we've
Yes.
lost some lawyers, accountants. Tell us about immigration.
I just
How
wanna speak
how
on-
high is the
yeah.
incidence? Who wants to go first?
I just want to jump in here as it relates to the hotel sector.
Oh,
So with the migrating,
Mhm.
a part of my studies would have been Winesper Educational Trust.
Yes.
That is the college in England.
yes.
I have one of the second highest qualifications in Barbados.
You went there?
No, Sandy, the company would have paid for us to do the studies.
Oh,
Correct.
you did it by correspondence.
By
through your
correspondence, correct. So at that point,
What is it called again?
Winesper Educational Trust.
Drink.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So that is basically training you to be a wine sommelier.
A wine?
Wine sommelier.
Okay.
Yes.
Fancy
So
word.
tasting wines, smelling wine, recommending wine to
Drinking and spinning,
different
spinning back
Yeah.
up. Okay.
Okay.
So there was
So you don't drink, do you?
no, not anymore.
and,
Like
you're a sommelier.
Yeah, was
Okay.
yeah. So what I realized, we're gonna have these degrees either tourism management or we're gonna have the Winesper Educational Trust.
Mhm.
I have witnessed firsthand.
Mhm.
There was a guy that he had the highest qualification, which is the level 3.
Yeah.
There was a company that looked past him, brought in an Italian to give him the role of head sommelier.
Yeah.
But this Italian that came in had the same exact qualification that I had.
Oh, really?
There's a Barbadian that is way brighter than I am,
Yes.
and this guy, but this guy got that job as head sommelier,
Yes.
along with the villa, along with the entertainment allowance. So for you as a young person
Mhm.
coming into the hotel sector,
Mhm.
you can only get so far to restaurant manager.
Yes.
You then have to leave and go to Dubai, Turks and Caicos, because all of my friends
Tell
left.
us about that then. Immigration.
Yeah,
The incidents of immigration.
they're gonna
By
pay the
young people
restaurant.
out of Barbados.
Restaurant
Is-
managers here, man.
A lot of people are doing it.
A lot.
lot of our young people are
Yes.
leaving.
Because with that university degree, along with you coming from Barbados, when you go to Turks and Caicos,
Mhm.
Barbados, so of course pay the restaurant managers $3,200 a month for restaurant manager
Here in Barbados.
here in Barbados.
Mhm.
West Coast pay
You're talking about the people's business though.
Yeah.
but so far. So West Coast pay $10,000. I worked, so of course I received $3,200 as a restaurant manager. But
Yes.
of course,
Yeah.
when I worked on the West Coast as restaurant manager, I received $10,000 a month.
You're loaded, dude.
Yeah.
So then you then have to then apply yourself. So most of the young people realize like as soon as they leave UAE, it don't make sense working here.
Mhm.
Go to Dubai, go to Turks and Caicos,
Mhm.
go to these other countries.
And this is happening
And this is
among our
happening
young
up to
Barbadians.
today. All of my friends that were in
Really?
the hotel sector left there either in Dubai, Turks and Caicos. I also before I left the hotel sector, I
Mhm.
received a job opportunity in Turks and Caicos.
What's
Thanks
the
for not taking it. You wouldn't have had a good
What's the
representative.
pay like over there?
The pay is double.
Really?
It's
Double the
double.
West Coast?
Huh?
Double the West
It's
Coast and
double.
double.
No. So West Coast, you're gonna get
10,000, you said.
Turks and Caicos, you're gonna get like 10,000 Barbadian, 5,000 US,
Mhm.
but you're gonna get accommodation, Your children is gonna get put up in private school, not school, private school.
Mhm.
You're gonna have an entertainment allowance. All of your clothes is gonna be laundered.
A lot of incentives.
So you're gonna get a lot of perks. And then if you have a spouse, so those hotels bring your family for free.
Melissa, you were talking about immigration. A lot of our young people are immigrating
Yeah.
for lack of opportunity.
Yeah, I would say so. I have some friends that are doctors,
Mhm.
engineers.
Mhm.
They were finding it very difficult to have employment here. So some doctors end up going to Jamaica. They studied in Jamaica, came out here,
Came back, yeah.
do internship, were employed for about 4 or 5 years,
Mhm.
and had to go back to Jamaica to find employment.
What are the prospects of us getting those people back in the future? They go there, get comfortable, maybe start a family.
Mhm. Higher pay is one
Higher
thing.
pay.
Yeah. The hospital usually employ persons from other countries
Mhm.
and overlook the local
Our
labor.
hospital here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
And overlook the local
Yes.
labor.
Mhm.
So
At the level of doctors, nurses.
Doctors.
doctors and
nurses.
nurses, yeah,
Really?
both doctors and nurses.
Yeah.
Interesting.
One of my friends, she is a nurse, so I spoke to her up the last week.
No name.
Yeah, so she said she said that a lot of the nurses
Mhm.
to get the job here, you have to do the exam, the regional. So when you bring those people from wherever, they
Yeah.
don't do our
Yeah.
regional.
No.
They don't do it.
They don't
They just come straight and start working as a nurse.
Mhm.
So the nurses in Barbados have to do the regional,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna pay them $1,400 a month, no benefits.
All right, let's talk about immigration.
So that's why
the big
those,
thing.
so that's why
That's
those
why our
nurses
people are
then
leaving.
going to the same Turks and Caicos.
Ramon?
But I've done some
Immigration
research.
come to you next.
There has been a serious brain drain
That's the term.
in a serious way.
Out of
And-
Barbados.
Yeah, that is correct.
Mhm.
And all what is happening as well, believe it or not, the other Caribbean countries, they're seeing a brain gain.
Yes.
So people are actually
Staying.
staying,
Okay.
of course. I know a young lady, she was a hotel manager,
Mhm.
and she always had ambitions of going to Dubai.
Yeah.
Knowing, but the thing about it is, her thing was, I'm back in a corner here,
Mhm.
back in a corner here. I know how ladies and women are treated out in the East,
Mhm.
right? But I'm going to take the risk because there isn't any opportunity here for me.
And immigration is something obviously that affects young people more than anything. That's the young people who are emigrating.
That is
What age groups are you talking about when you talk about immigration?
It's about from about 20 to
25
yeah.
to 25 to 35.
25, 35.
You see, some younger people they will take the risk because they don't have a family,
Right.
Yeah.
That's the-
right?
yeah,
So they will
yeah.
take a risk and go overseas.
Well, I know some people who've gone to Canada.
Yes,
Family.
Canada.
Shakwani, immigration.
What I wanted to say, I know a lot of people who do nursing and they go overseas because nurses are paid so much more internationally.
Well, I'm asking, are we having a high incidence
Yeah.
from your observation
Yeah.
of emigration out of Barbados among young
Mo-
people?
most of-
Significant numbers?
Yeah. Most of our young people are not staying here. You can check the
Most of them.
numbers. When you see, think about the secondary schools, how many young people are at secondary schools? Then you look at the other facilities where they can train,
Mhm.
and then you look at the jobs.
Mhm.
Where are the young people? They're clearly not here. So they have to be somewhere and they get better opportunities overseas. I know I have a lot of friends who have studied overseas and they always say that sometimes when they go into classrooms, sometimes the tutors say that they love students from the Caribbean because one, they're always eager to work, they pretend they work and they're exemplary students. So they enjoy international students coming and then they also get better opportunities. I have a lot of friends who never came back to Barbados because there was nothing to come back to.
I'm going to use my phrase again. In my day, most people went to the USA.
Mhm.
What's the destination of choice now among young people? who are emigrating?
Canada,
Canada?
England.
England? People are
Yeah.
still going to England?
Yeah.
Actually, the nurses.
Because it was England in the 1950s and 60s.
Mhm.
And then in the 70s, 80s, it shifted to North America.
The nurses, I find a lot of nurses they're going to England.
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 They're going to England.
And some in Dubai.
Yeah,
Dubai?
Dubai, Turks and Caicos.
That's the hot place
Yeah.
with sand.
Yeah.
And people are still going.
When you're looking about it, your money. Barbados is so hard. You can go over to these places and they send back money home,
Yes.
and you can help your family. So yes, it may be hard for you in these countries, but it's not as hard as home. Home is so much harder that they can't afford to be here.
Really?
I know a person that I told her, as soon as you finish your first year in nursing, specialize and leave.
Really?
Your children are young enough that transitioning with them will not impact them, but you cannot make it. She makes $2,700.
What is the mindset of a young person, say 25,
Mhm.
30, 35?
Yeah.
A young person at, let's say 25,
Mhm.
he or she leaves. Do they plan to come back?
Yeah,
No.
for retirement.
You say
A lot
no.
of people are
Melissa
retiring.
says no. Ramon, a 25-year-old, 30-year-old who leaves Barbados,
A lot of them, they plan to come back.
they plan to.
They plan to come at some point in time, but
Yeah,
they want to make as much money
but it's
as
possible.
as
What's your experience with
Um,
their mindset?
All depends on the opportunity. So they go there for the experience.
When they're leaving,
Yes.
are they saying, I am going to do 10 years, 15 years, 20?
Some of them. Some of them.
Or some say, I am not coming back.
Some of them go with the intentions on coming back to get a higher paid job.
Yeah,
Oh, I
some
see.
people do that.
Yes.
Really?
So you go overseas, say you have a bachelor's here, you will go internationally, do a master's. Because
Mhm.
once your master's or your bachelor's is from overseas, automatically, apparently,
Yeah.
you're more
Higher
qualified for the
value.
job.
Yes,
Yes. So a lot of them, what they do, you could be in your second semester at UB, you would transfer out to a college overseas, finish your final year there, transfer your credits, come back. Or you can stay, do your master's,
Mhm.
and then come back, maybe work for 6 months down there, and you find that you will get better job offers when you come back to Barbados. So some students do travel overseas to get better opportunities if they want to come back. I have a
Not
lot of
students,
people.
working people.
Well,
25,
They come
30
back
years old.
as working people, but a lot of 25-year-olds go and do their masters overseas, or you will find they do an
No,
online
tell us
master's
about the
program.
ones who are working.
Yes,
Finish studying here,
yes,
could be a doctor,
yes.
could be an accountant,
But what they do when
and they
you
leave,
find,
let's say 28 years old.
okay, you will
They're
find
fully
that
qualified
25
here.
year,
They've had a UE education, Barbadian education.
Mhm.
They're leaving, going overseas. Fully qualified.
Mhm.
What is their mindset? I am gone for good, or am I going to do 10 years, 15 years and come back?
What I will say is most of them they go overseas to make money, but when you speak to them, everybody loves Barbados. They love home, so they're gonna come back to retire.
That was my
I have
next
a
question.
lot of
Yes.
people
Why do they love home?
because home is safe, home is warm, home is not poor, and home has family.
That was my, that's what I was leading to.
But the
Canada.
problem
A lot
is
of our
that-
people have gone to Canada,
Yeah, I got a lot.
which is bitterly cold.
Yes, it is. Up to today,
But they're still
Canada
going.
is really cold.
Oh, yeah.
Because the money.
Money.
You don't remember when you're making $8.50 in Barbados and you can make $17.50
Yeah.
doing a basic supermarket
But I'm
job
told
overseas.
Toronto is extremely expensive.
It is, but
The cost of housing
Yes.
and the cost of food
Mhm.
is very, very high in Toronto.
yeah.
But they stay. They're staying.
But a lot of people don't necessarily stay in Toronto. We have a lot of people who go Ontario, they go to
Yes.
the outskirts. Even if you may
Halifax,
work,
I'm told.
you will come
Vancouver.
into the city to work and then go home.
Okay, live elsewhere.
Yeah, let elsewhere. That's what people are doing. And then, like here, people have roommates. Roommates are more accessible overseas. In Barbados, nobody don't want a roommate that they don't know already.
Yeah.
But overseas, you meet a person online. I remember when I was considering traveling to Canada, I asked one of my friends staying in Canada, what site do you use to get housing? And she sent me this app. And on the app, it told me that this is all the things that comes with the house and this is the room we can get. And these are the other people who
Sharing.
potentially getting the rooms inside the house as well.
So you're sharing a kitchen and you're sharing a bathroom.
Yes. No, we all had our own bathrooms,
Mhm.
but we had to share kitchen facilities and we all had our own bedrooms.
Yeah.
But it was just like a house
Mhm.
with almost like a student apartments within a house.
Okay.
I think the weather is a major factor.
Yep.
Now I know some people who
You
live
rather
the weather. It's
Here.
a major, yeah, the weather here is a major
keeps people here.
That
To
is
come
correct.
back?
To come back.
Okay.
Yes.
Or the-
Because I know some people who would have gone to England and they said every day they go to work, they just see the sky is gray, they're
Yeah.
depressed all the time.
Great.
Very
You
good.
know? So I think the weather
Mhm.
plays a major role in them wanting to come back to Barbados. You know?
That was
But also,
Yes,
with
sure.
times changing now, what I have found is that some of my friends are coming home because they have jobs that are online.
Oh,
I know people who work remotely, and what they do, they travel all around the world. So wherever they want to go, they plan on they're traveling with their significant other,
Mhm.
but they work from online. So once they have access to stable internet, and a lot of them buy VPN so that the companies don't know they're out of the island, out of the country. And I travel. I saw one of my friends in China, and she works in Canada.
Really? I want to get into the heights of you young people.
Yeah.
What is it that would bring, what is it about Barbados
Mhm.
that would bring a person back here? He works 10 years, and over that 10 years, he or she saying, man, I want to go home. What is it that brings them back to Barbados, that makes them crave for Barbados?
In Barbados,
Looking at it
every
possibilities.
single day you can do something.
Like what?
Every single, okay, you can go outside, you can go to a party, you can go meet your friends.
Every day in Barbados?
You can do something every single day.
Really?
Really? Ralph, you can do something every single day. There's not a day in Barbados that you cannot go to activity.
I think I disagree with you. If I drive through St. Lawrence Gap on Monday night, it is Friday.
But you have to know where you're going on each night. Every night might not be the same location. But I have friends from the time they get back home, we know what we're doing every single night. Whether it be games night, you may go and do, say, you're going to do a club
So you think
practice.
Barbados is socially vibrant?
It is. Because when you're overseas, you only know a few.
All right, so we have the social life.
Yes.
What else will bring somebody? The weather,
The weather.
Family.
Definitely the weather. Family.
naval strength.
I know that, but family would be better. People want to feel safe. When you look about overseas,
Safe.
there's a lot of violence, different violence compared to here.
Mhm.
They have to worry about bombing.
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
that fear
Yeah.
here. So for them, okay, I remember I had that's true because I remember I saw this thing on the internet, and the first thing it was call my friend, asked, "Are you okay?" And she was like, She's actually glad I reached out because the explosion happened a couple buildings away from her, but she was home. She was not at work.
Mhm.
And I was like, "In
Well,
Barbados, it's not
for
the same."
example,
Exactly.
I heard of a patient who suffered and not died, but
Mhm.
was affected by the earthquake last
Mhm.
week. Yeah.
In Barbados, they tell us
There are
that
things
we're
to do.
blessed. We're blessed because
Dale,
a lot of the things we get.
what is there that would bring a person back to Barbados? If we want to be positive on the show, what good thing would bring people back to Barbados?
For the hotel sector, a lot of the young people only going to come back because, when they come back, I am going to get.
No, I mean Barbadians who have left.
Yeah, yeah.
What would they crave for here? Trains, the weather, the beach. As Shakwani said, social life.
Sauce, put in a sauce.
Food. But the social side is
Our crop over.
oh yeah, they all come back.
I think one of the things
What brings people back?
the food. For me, the eyes of the week, so
Your food.
they would want to come back where the food is concerned. And then there's still some communities which are very close knit.
Mhm.
Close knit. They're family, all one family.
Yeah, the community lifestyle
Of course, yes.
that
Lifestyle, of course.
somebody is people shout you, people flash they like that.
There we go.
We take these
There
things
we
for
go.
granted.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
good morning.
Good evening.
What's happening?
Good morning, good evening. I've gone overseas, and I inadvertently,
It's a long
I
life,
would
isn't it?
call it inadvertently because I inadvertently said good morning to someone, and they just passed me.
Yeah,
and
they
I-
don't
They
respond.
they don't respond. So that was definitely a culture shock for me.
Yeah.
It was a culture shock.
And one of the things I will say too is that racism overseas.
Ah,
In Barbados, we don't experience that really. We experience a different type of racism.
yeah.
But in those countries overseas, the color of your skin makes it different. What
is
your
blatant.
what your hair looks like makes it different. So how people treat you will be very different compared to when you're home. When you're home, almost everybody looks like you, and even people who are Caucasian, they don't treat you differently. We don't treat them differently. But overseas, you are treated blatantly differently just because of how you look. And we may take that as something small here, but when you go in a world where everybody else looks like them, we really see how it impacts you when you feel that stifling environment. So you want to you find that when people that leave here go overseas and work for years, they come back home when they get children. You know what? Because we have one of the best education systems, and they feel that their children will be safe. Unlike overseas, where they have to be worrying about shootings in schools, we don't have that fear here. So they also have. I saw one international artist from Jamaica complaining about her son at a private school, even though she's an international artist, he was being bullied, and she wanted to know how do you address that, and she said, if she was back home, she would go to the school and cause a scene, but she doesn't know how to deal with it here and how to protect him. And so that is a factor that you have to consider when you have children. That do you want them to experience life like that, or do you want
Right.
them to come out in the environment where you came up with?
Right.
Yes, it may be hard, but you will never find a situation where you will feel so unsafe for your child that you must pull them out of a school situation.
So economic circumstances are driving our young people out of world, but they still have a craving for the culture that they
Yes.
do. I didn't prepare you all for this one, but I want to ask you about it. I heard on the radio this evening that the ministry is going to be looking again at the hairstyles that they allowed a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I want the young people's perspective. I want your honest view. All right. Who will go on this difficult one first? And you know what I'm talking about? How they allow the boys and girls.
Yeah, what's reading?
Who's going first?
Yeah.
Giovanni, you were here?
Okay,
You
I
want to
will
go
go,
first?
I will go first.
You sure you want to go
I
first?
will go first.
What's
You
your
want
view
my
on
name first? Okay.
Yeah. What's your
Let me give you a short story. When I went to school, I had locks.
Yes.
In primary school, I had locks. In secondary school, I had locks. I was penalized because I had locks.
penalized
Yes.
by the
By
Leadership of the school?
tutors, leadership. of the school.
penalized how?
Yeah. At that
Detention?
time, locks wasn't seen as something that is
But should
acceptable.
you like say at that time? You're not.
No,
You can't say at that time. A
I'm
few
so
days
stupid.
ago.
Okay, a few days ago, Ralph, but at that time for me, locks wasn't considered as an
It
acceptable
wasn't
style
accepted then.
for people to wear publicly.
Right.
Once you had locks, you were put into a
This is
bracket.
secondary school you're
No,
talking
I'm talking about
Oh,
primary school. Even in primary school, teachers would come up to me and ask me if I could make my hair more presentable.
Really?
If I can style my hair. One teacher even asked me if I can wash my hair every single day. Another student does that. And I'm like, but do you understand that locks takes like a day to dry? It's not as simple as that. And my hair was still every 2 weeks. I was sent to get my hair still every 2 weeks. Only in the off periods when I would have it down, not still, just pulled back. Even in secondary school, my first week when I went to secondary school, I was sent to the office to take out my extensions. I didn't realize that people did not know what locks was, and I had to explain that and then explain to them that Black people have long hair also. So in that process, I would say it was difficult for me because in classes, I was asked to sit at the back of the class because my hair still was considered to be too elaborate and blocking people. Even though I would have explained that I came to this class late, people had options to sit in the front and they chose to sit at the back. So I would say me having locks at secondary school was not pleasant at that time because of all the misunderstandings about what having hair like that would mean for me as a person. I do think that they could be flexible with what they're doing, but I don't like how it has changed.
You don't like it. What about it you don't like?
I don't like the fact because even though you are expressing yourself, hair should look tidy. Hair should look tidy. Neat is in the eyes of the perspective because when I transitioned from locks, I had an afro. And I remember one time a tutor told me that I need to make my hair presentable for school. And I told her, if I was Caucasian, my hair was curly and it was let down, would you have said that to me? And she said that is not the same thing. I said, it is because you're deeming that my hair is not acceptable based on the type of hair I have, where you can see other students who had flowy hair down, they weren't restricted to the same way that I was. So would you have said that to me if I look different?
Yeah.
And she just walked away. She never spoke to me about my hair again. And I'm saying that because my hair it didn't have length in it. It wasn't untidy. It was just the perception that was not acceptable, even though in her times, afros were in, and that was a requirement. When you went to school, everybody didn't have an afro. Okay, then. So styles could be presentable and acceptable. It means that people need to pay attention. So
you agree that that the ministry should look at it again?
the ministry should look at it again, but the teachers and staff members, the principal needs to put in place stipulations. The ministry can do so much, but as the principal, I remember when I went to school, we had to do it was like a lineup. They would come and check your uniform length. They would come and check your hair. Yeah, exactly. We wore braids when I was at school, but when you wore braids at school, your hair had to be bun and it had to be up. There was no long hair Rapunzels at school. You came to an environment, so it needed to be in a professional manner.
I'll tell you this.
Uh-huh.
The focus now, and I can tell you as a parent and somebody who's following the whole thing, the focus mainly is on the boys.
Mhm.
That they feel that the boys have gotten carried away with the style.
Yes,
Isn't that true, Melissa?
it needs curbing.
Yes.
Right.
At my
Um,
daughter's
let-
school, it was a major issue.
Mhm.
We've had PTA meetings
Mhm.
and
You said it needs curbing.
yeah, it needs curbing.
Okay.
PTA meetings spent about an hour talking about this issue.
With the boys.
Yeah, last year and this year. Not just the boys, but girls as well. But the boys is a bigger issue. They no longer comb their hair. They may,
They don't.
yeah, they may have their hair short, but they don't comb it.
Mhm.
Teachers find the issue with.
Mhm.
The girls, let's say the age of 7 or 8 years old,
Mhm.
they're coming to school with a more womanish hairdo.
The girls.
Yeah, than previous
Allow me
years.
to say.
Yeah, yeah. Back to the boys. Another issue with the boys, they're growing out their hair and they're plaiting it.
Mhm.
So they're not keeping it neat and tidy like before. So in my opinion, it does need curb.
And you think it is related to discipline.
Yes.
So
Yeah, because there is a kind of rebellion in a way with some of the boys, not having to keep their hair tidy anymore. So to me, it's a kind of rebellion.
and you think you think school should be more regimented than that.
Yeah.
Ramon wants to say something.
Well, I'm not a big expert where hair is concerned. Now, when that was the case, for me, it's all about discipline.
All about discipline
All of
and regimentation and order.
Definitely.
Yeah,
It must be.
And you think some disorder has crept in?
That is correct.
Y'all are young
In a-
candidates for this
in
party.
in a serious way.
And if it is possible, you could be in a government. So your views here are important.
I think it's actually definitely gotten out of hand. You have beads and all sorts of funny things. You hear all over the place, and I think that there should be more discipline.
When was it implemented? 2 years ago?
I believe it was 2 years.
After COVID?
Yes.
After
Right.
COVID.
So here you have, look, we're politicians, so let's get political. So here you have a government that implements something 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and 2 years later,
Coming to change
coming
again.
to change.
Yeah.
So it doesn't speak well for the government, does it?
No,
It doesn't. I think it speaks to how the government usually operates.
Precisely,
It's
precisely.
fell into
Operates.
this problem.
What they say, the horse before the cart.
Cart
Correct.
before the horse,
Yeah,
which I-
cart. Yeah.
cart and the horse wrong way around. Dale, you wanted to say,
So,
come back to you, Shirley Shabani. How do you feel about this question of hairstyles in schools? You can call it liberal hairstyles, allowing the children to come as to school as they wish.
Honestly,
And you tell them 2 years ago that they can, and 2 years later you tell them that perhaps we did the wrong thing. Doesn't speak well for the government's management of education.
honestly, I don't think the government understand what they do. They just do,
They just do.
and then when stuff hit the fan, it's like, yo, let me stop
Let me
that.
reel this back.
So let me.
We
should
expect
deal-
you to be the member of parliament for the city very shortly. What is Dale Rose's view as future member of parliament of the city? Do you think that they need to look at it again? Do you support it? Don't be afraid to express your view.
How I feel as it relates to the hairstyles.
Yes.
Managing people,
Mhm.
people come with all kinds of hairstyles.
Yes.
However, we have women standards.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is a key role. So I don't want to discriminate as it relates to hair,
Mhm.
but my problem will come. Example,
Use the word
Dante.
standard.
Yes, so the standard will come.
Mhm.
Dante wanted the afro.
Or your son.
Yes, he wanted the afro.
Yeah.
Hair
See, that
tall.
fellow was,
Yes,
that
please.
need that cover.
And he's in this style that he wants to sponge it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
For the fight. Yeah.
So
This is your son.
this is my
How
son.
old is he?
He's 13.
Uh-huh.
So for me,
So what was your ruling?
it's not untidy. I'm being very honest
So
because
you're a despot in the house.
so I told him I don't have a problem with your hair.
Uh,
My problem comes if you look untidy.
so you had a discussion with
Yes,
him?
I had a discussion with him. I said you can keep the hair.
Mhm.
That's not a problem. But I think you should comb it, get the barber to actually do something with it,
Yeah.
shave it.
Yeah.
But he goes to the barber do the sides,
Mhm.
leaves the top,
Mhm.
and then when
Yeah.
One of those things like-
Fighting, yeah.
no, so That's one thing.
Yes.
Managing people, we have to embrace everybody identity,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
we have to set a
A
standard.
standard. That's the important word.
Yeah. So grooming standard. So if you want it as a boy,
Now,
you want
Shaquani
to,
spoke about identity because she went with locks, and that's identity.
that's identity. Yeah.
But apart from that, standard.
Standard.
Yeah.
Correct. If you
So
want
there's
to wear
nothing wrong with
locks,
locks, obviously.
nothing wrong with locks, nothing wrong
That's
with the
identity.
hijab, nothing wrong with the afro
Mhm.
or the plait hair for boys.
Yes,
But you need a grooming standard.
a standard. Yeah.
Is like example, we have to put insurance on our car to drive.
Yes.
That is a standard.
Yes.
So as a standard, if you want to wear plait hair as a boy, I think it should be decent and
Right.
tidy.
Right.
Don't put the beads because you're not going to school.
Who makes that judgment as the decency? The
Ah.
parent or the teacher?
I think both play an important role. Because you as a parent, what you
Parent, teacher, or government?
all three play an important role.
But in this one, it was the government.
This one is the government
Government made a decision,
made a decision.
imposed it on the schools, and now there's been public outcry. They want to reverse it.
Because
So we got to fail the government.
yeah, big F.
Big F.
Because they did it, they allowed it to happen, but you did not set a standard.
Right. Right.
So when you look at the hotel sector would let people with
the horse
locks,
molded.
people with tattoos,
Mhm.
those persons can come and work. Rasters, whomever,
Yeah.
those persons can come and work, but there's a standard.
Right.
You can't have your beard
In the
all
suit.
you can't have your beard all the way here.
Mhm.
It have to be decent. So there are standards in the hotel
Mhm.
or any workplace, financial industry, there are standards, grooming standards.
Mhm.
So I think that the government should have, if they want to implement something, don't just implement it and then come say, Shaquani, what do you think? Or Thorne, what do you think? Or Melissa, what do you think? Have a consultation.
This government doesn't consult.
At all.
So the
Not at all.
government, teachers, parents,
Correct.
and the students
And students.
should have been a part of the process.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. 5 minutes. This has been an excellent program. The LPTV Youth Vibes. We've had with us, we're not ended yet, so keep thinking caps on. We've had Dero, the candidate for the city, Shaquani, candidate for St. Michael West, just out of the city, Melissa. We're going to talk about Melissa soon politically. And Juan, we're going to talk about him soon within the next, few weeks. We've had an excellent program. I want to ask, we're going to come back. We're going to come back. I love talking to young people because I'm going to end the way I began. When a government is formulating policy, it is futuristic. And anything that is futuristic must necessarily deal with young people. So there's a sense in which most governmental policy is about young people because you're talking about the future. And that's why we are here tonight. And we're going to come back. I want us to come back and discuss crime. We cannot leave this series unless we discuss crime because crime is affecting young people. Most, not only as perpetrators, but as victims. So we're going to come back. I want to close the program by inviting the panel to make some final comments as to your impressions as to life in Barbados at this point in time. Do you feel good about life in Barbados, or do you not feel good about life in Barbados? That's a difficult question. How do you, as young people, feel about life in Barbados at this present time? Are you happy with it? Are you unhappy? Do you think that you live in a happy country? Do you think you live in an unhappy country?
Life in Barbados, very difficult for young people, especially persons from, the rural areas. It's very hard, lack of opportunity. Cost of living is extremely high.
Yes.
We don't feel, or young people don't feel that the government cares, point blank.
Mhm.
Because there's no policy systems, there's nothing to benefit or help young people.
Okay, thanks. Who's second? Shaquani, 30
Um,
seconds.
living in Barbados at the time is truly frustrating for young people.
Happy country or unhappy
It's
country?
an unhappy country. You're every day it's a new challenge, a challenge that you don't even know how to begin to overcome or overtake because you're not given the tools or resources to do so. So it can't be happy when every day you're given a new way for how you're going to struggle because the government is not serious about what they're implementing. So if every day you have a person implementing something that's going to make your life harder, think about the pit. People are not going to be happy. Every day you have to look for a new way to try to fund foolishness,
Mhm.
and you don't even know how to begin to do that.
So two verdicts are in. Barbados is presently an unhappy country.
Mhm.
Melissa?
Yeah, I agree. The environment right now, the atmosphere is an unhappy one.
Mhm.
Cost of living, it's out of control. And you're finding that families all over Barbados are finding it very, very hard to make ends meet in this life.
Thank you.
I
Ramon?
find it's
We have 3 verdicts in. We found the government guilty of managing an unhappy country. What is your verdict, sir?
I find it extremely challenging. The government does not listen. One of the key
I use the words
components-
happy or unhappy.
No, no, no.
country.
Very, very unhappy.
Very unhappy.
Very unhappy. You know, more listening needs to be done. No doubt about it. Right? The only way you can come up with solutions is to listen. And one the main key component of communication, first thing is to listen. So I want to encourage the government to listen if they have to, obviously.
I was going to say, as the old people would say, we make God by them ears.
Yeah.
We're talking about it's not just the earrings.
Well, we've managed to end the program as happy people because we're all laughing in
Yes.
spite of the unhappiness out there. Thanks to the panel for coming. The verdict is in. Barbados is not a happy country, and we will urge Barbadians to do all that they can to make this country and this society a happier place. Before we can do that, there's a note of, or there's something that reminds us of how unhappy this country is. That relates to the issue at Jammett's Lane, where the government has given precious Barbadian real estate to a foreign company. It doesn't matter. It could have China, Japan, the United States, or Africa. Barbadians are very upset about the fact that government has taken up how many acres? 5 acres of land and given it to a commercial entity for free. So that there will be a protest march on Saturday. I think the entire thing is being organized by Marcia Weeks. Everybody in Barbados knows Marcia Weeks. It starts at 10 o'clock at the liquidation center. Is that on Judith Street? And ends at the Jammett's Lane site. So we are urging
They should.
Jammett's Lane. Is it Jammett's Lane? Yeah, Jammett's Lane off Bay Street.
Liquidation center.
Liquidation center on oh, it's Bay Street. There's no longer a liquidation center, is there?
Oh, the other one goes in. It's not at liquidation.
By through the street, isn't it?
No.
Look, Marcia Weeks will say tomorrow on her show. These politicians like to argue too much. The march is on Saturday, and Marcia is urging all Barbadians to come out and express their voices of protest. The Democratic Labour Party certainly will support the march under our constitution. We are permitted to support progressive causes, and we consider this march a progressive cause in protest against something that government has done that they ought not to have done. That march is on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Please come out and support those who are protesting against the giving away of this country's patrimony. We've had a really good time here tonight with young people. As I said, no government in waiting can progress unless it gets into the minds of young people. I want to thank the Roe, Shaquani Hunt, Melissa Howard, and Ramon Goodman for being with us tonight. And we will be back again next week on VLP TV Youth Vibes. Good night and God bless you.